On this sector, looking at the dollar, first things first, we saw a bounce over the last couple of days. During that bounce, metals and miners and crypto pulled back. The question now is it just a daily lower high that's going to lead to lower lows, as every bounce has led to a daily lower high over the last couple of months? Or can the bulls make it a more significant bounce? Right now, if the answer is it's just a lower high and we're heading to lower lows, then we can be looking at Bitcoin and crypto to just be looking for a higher low. Again, they are directly inverse. 2 days of Bitcoin consolidation and now a little bit of green, and essentially 2 days of bounce on the dollar. So keeping a close eye on it. 4-hour time frame, we're looking at anything above 92.15 as a little 4-hour higher low. You can look at the 12-hour time frame if you want to zoom in a little bit. Bottom line is the bulls have a lot more proving to do, and we're keeping a close watch on it due to the inverse relationship between it and the cryptocurrency sector, or at least I should say Bitcoin and many in the cryptocurrency sector. So Bitcoin from here, healthy daily consolidation. I am personally being a little bit cautious right now just because, again, I want to see what the dollar has in terms of follow through. The dollar on the weekly time frame has bounced in the last 12 years. The weekly RSI, the lowest levels were 28, 25, 27, 25 and a half, and we just dropped down into the 29s before this little daily bounce started. So that keeps me a little bit cautious. 12-year historical bounce ranges approaching, but as long as we keep the daily higher lows, we know the cryptocurrency bulls have complete control. When we lose the daily higher lows, we will zoom out and look for a weekly higher low, as we have not consolidated in the last month plus on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin. So for right now, bulls are keeping their control. Worst case for bulls, short term, would be to set a daily higher low at 11,569, make a move up, fail to break the high of 12,486, and then confirm a daily downtrend. That would pretty much ensure weekly consolidation would be underway. Weekly, or I should say the 4-hour RSI on Bitcoin got just above oversold conditions. And then we had a little bit of a trend change. Low of the pullback, high of the bounce, quick little higher low and higher high. And it's giving us a daily inside bar. Bulls really want this daily inside bar to break bullish tomorrow if it does close this way. And then again, from there, bulls want to see increasing bull volume to just head straight to a higher high. And in the absence of increasing bull volume, if volume stays low, it is possible that we set a daily lower high compared to 12,486. The dominance chart is still in this falling wedge, and we're keeping a close eye on it. The bounce that took place during Bitcoin consolidation told us the altcoins were dropping a little bit harder, but it is just a daily lower high on this bounce attempt, and we would have to see this inside bar break bearish, hold the low, and then change the daily trend if we were going to break convincingly bullish out of this falling wedge. Not doing so at the moment, but always keeping a close eye on it. ETH, so I had a shorter term trade swing position on ETH that I entered on this 4-hour consolidation, exited a third of it on the way up in the 420s. Then I saw the double top at 445 and a big enough pullback that I wanted to remain conservative still. So I took another bit of profit right around, I think, the low 430s or so, and I was stopped out of the remaining roughly half a position when we lost the daily support level of 412. So the bulls are still holding on here. You could say we lost the daily uptrend, absolutely, but if Bitcoin doesn't lose the daily uptrend, then we're not going to expect much follow through here. Again, the weekly time frame, due for consolidation, it would be healthy, but we would have to see Bitcoin lose the daily uptrend in order for that to happen, in my opinion. So inside bar on the daily time frame here as well. A little bit of an hourly inverse head and shoulders. Just marked the bottom with our left shoulder, head, and now our right shoulder breaking these neckline resistances. And we did get 4-hour oversold RSI here. It dropped right down just below 30 and then started that bounce. And it reached that level while Bitcoin did not, because that dominance chart on Bitcoin was bouncing at the same point in time. So we'll see if we close with a daily inside bar. Again, worst case for the bulls would be to fail to break the high of 448 and then lose that daily higher low of 393. If we break that inside bar that is forming today, if we break it bullish tomorrow. So again, aggressive bulls still in positions as long as Bitcoin is in a daily uptrend, and remaining a little bit protective if we see daily lower highs form as the result of this bounce. It can go either way. Whenever I'm looking at the most likely scenario as to whether continuation is more likely or whether a tightening range and lower high is most likely, I'm usually using the exponential supports as a visual guide as to how significant the pullback was. We're really right in the middle of the road. We did drop a little bit below that exponential moving average. I wouldn't call this a daily bull flag, but it's also not that significant of a pullback from the recent high, and it is certainly keeping the bulls within striking distance. They are only about 4 or 5% away from that. Volume will be key. ETH BTC is doing pretty much the same thing the daily chart is here. What the bulls don't want to see here is a head and shoulders pattern with our left shoulder. That's a bad drawing. Left shoulder. This would be our head. And again, if we fail to break 376 and then lose the daily uptrend, we zoom out and look for weekly consolidation. And that's what we're going to be focused on very closely into the weekend and the start of next week. Link. Multiple inside bars. This tells us the daily range is tightening up and a break is imminent. And we can be viewing this roughly as an equilibrium. We did get a little bit of a bull break. So it was a low of the pullback. And let's go to the 2-hour time frame because it was a bit of a descending triangle. 1464, solid bounce, double bottom to the penny, great bottom fish opportunity, solid bounce, held support, broke some resistances, and now we're just forming higher lows and attempting to hold those higher lows. But we can be watching just the daily inside bars. And if this candle closes with an inside bar, as it looks like it will, we can use the break of today's range tomorrow to dictate whether we're heading back down to test 1464 key support. If it's a bull break, our daily higher low is 1464, and then we're looking back up at $20. We're more likely to set a daily lower high here than on some other names because, again, the percentage move to get back to a higher high is much more significant than on a lot of names. So still a very healthy daily pullback, and it is worth scouting for a daily higher low to form as we battle and hold a base of support and the daily 12-period exponential moving average. OMG is exploding the last few days, and it really was asleep all of June and July while the cryptocurrency was doing a lot, but it's making up for lost time very quickly. Daily bull flag confirmed, higher low 250, exploding almost 100% in 2 days. So we don't want to make any bullish entries up here, but it's worth highlighting for the back burner trades. We'll be watching for first 5-minute oversold conditions. We'll be watching for first hourly oversold conditions, and we can look for those to give some solid bounces. So as far as the resistance from here, we cleared some resistances on the weekly. Getting over 324 opened up a lot of space. After 324, we were looking up into the upper 380s, and now it's all about 510. Look at the lack of resistance after 510. You clear 510, and we're then looking up at 838 as the next major level. So huge bull move, big daily volume. Again, we don't want to be chasing bullish up here. At a bare minimum, I would be waiting for a 4-hour higher low if I wanted to be an aggressive bull. XTZ USD, daily bounce trying to take place. This is the kind of move where I'm looking for a weekly higher low to form. We broke the low of last week just barely. Could it be another little bull flag? That's a possibility. But if I'm looking for an entry and I'm not in one, I want to see this daily bounce anticipating a lower high compared to 439. And then I would look for an entry on the higher low. If the bounce is significant enough that I can anticipate a higher low is then the most likely scenario, I scale in maybe 1 or 2 entries. I put my stop under the low of 347. And if that is what plays out, the trend change, I have a great entry for the weekly higher low. And if not, then I have small risk stopping out when we drop to that lower low. And I then know that further weekly consolidation is likely and the weekly bull flag is less likely. BNB USDT, daily uptrend remains intact. So anything above 2057 is a higher low. Bulls are hoping that new higher low is 2182. Need a little bit of more follow through here. We did change the 4-hour trend, so that's step number 1 for setting that daily higher low. Just a little bit cautious. Look at the 12-hour time frame here. This is a pattern I would be watching. You could call it a bit of a rising wedge, but this uptrend support line has been in play for quite some time now. You can see, look how many times we bounced off this, pretty much all the way back to July. So we're looking over a month here, and we've just continuously bounced off of this, even most recently. So we're watching for the potential of a lower high compared to 23.91. And keep a close eye if we were to break this uptrend line. That to me would be a very notable shift in momentum away from the bulls, which would again have me looking for some further weekly consolidation if that uptrend line on the 12-hour time frame were to break. Generally, I don't like uptrend lines. I like price action more, but that was a very clear one with many touches. XRP is a nice daily equilibrium. We had the high of the breakout, low of the pullback. 27 cents is the most important level for me. Double top essentially, and now trying to hold 27, and the bulls are looking to do so. So if we can hold 27, we'll have a daily equilibrium. This equilibrium could play out for another week. If we bounce on the daily, we'll be watching for a potential lower high compared to 329. Aggressive bears would be looking for an entry on that lower high with a stop above 33 cents to keep that risk small. But it is still an uptrend favoring bulls. LTC, looking for a daily high or low, tons of space, anything over 51.61. Daily inside bar today, trying to change the 4-hour trend with a bit of follow through right now. And anything under, again, worst case scenario, set a daily inside bar, break it bullish tomorrow, fail to break the high of $69, and then drop down and confirm a daily downtrend. It's the last thing the bulls want to see heading into this weekend. It's a possibility we have to keep an eye on. The volume for the bulls over the next 2 days on this bounce attempt is going to be very telling. If it is notable bull volume, then we're going to head right back to resistance. And if it's not, then we're going to look for those daily lower highs. So overall, I'm being conservative and cautious. Someone who is not is definitely making entries and looking for the daily uptrend to remain intact. Daily downtrend for the dollar, still intact. Daily uptrend for Bitcoin, still intact. And the next major event, technically speaking, in the cryptocurrency space in the short term will be when Bitcoin loses the daily uptrend. So that's something we're going to be closely watching for. Hope you're all well out there. Continue to do good things. And we will check back in soon to see if we get daily continuation or daily lower highs. Have a good rest of your day. This is what they're supposed to look like. So this is after the melon turns yellow, and I thought this one was rotted, but these seeds get these, it looks like almost little hearts, and they're just these little goo jelly delicious things, and you suck the goo off and then you got a seed. So this is what I remember them being, and I was pretty confused at the ones that I was getting that were still green. So I'm going to try and let the ones that are still on the vine turn yellow, and I will save these seeds and we'll see what we get. This is what they're supposed to look like. So this is after the melon turns yellow, and I thought this one was rotted, but these seeds get these, it looks like almost little hearts, and they're just these little goo jelly delicious things, and you suck the goo off and then you got a seed. So this is what I remember them being, and I was pretty confused at the ones that I was getting that were still green. So I'm going to try and let the ones that are still on the vine turn yellow, and I will save these seeds and we'll see what we get.